The man in the brand new Mercedes sitting next to you at the red light looks like he's winning. He has the tailored suit, the latest smartphone, and a car that costs more than some people's homes. But if you could peer into his bank account, you might find something terrifying. A net worth that is effectively zero, or perhaps even negative. He isn't wealthy, he's merely performing wealth. Across the intersection, a woman in a 10-year-old Honda Accord is waiting for the same light. Her clothes are unremarkable and her car is paid off. She doesn't look like a millionaire, yet statistically, she is far more likely to be one. This is the central paradox of modern finance. Real wealth is often invisible, while the appearance of wealth is frequently just debt wearing a costume. If your life feels boring, if your car is embarrassing, and if you feel like you're falling behind your flashy friends, you might actually be showing the clearest signs that you are secretly getting rich. Wealth building does not arrive with a notification or a progress bar. It is a quiet, almost unremarkable shift in how you move through the world. The first sign that you are moving toward a seven-figure reality is that your life has become financially uneventful. To most people, uneventful sounds like a synonym for boring. But in the world of the wealthy, boredom is a luxury. When you are broke, money is the main character in every scene of your life. Every meal is a calculation, every bill is a threat, and every weekend is an exercise in managing scarcity. But as you get richer, the drama begins to fade. Your bills are paid automatically, your savings move in the background, and you've stopped creating expensive excitement just to fill the silence. You aren't constantly chasing the next upgrade or the next impulsive trip just because everyone else is. While others are using their money to buy excitement, you are using yours to buy stability. And stability is the necessary foundation for everything that follows. This leads us to the second sign. A surprise expense no longer feels like a personal attack from the universe. Life is expensive, and things will always break. The car will need a new transmission. The roof will eventually leak. For most Americans, a $400 emergency is a catastrophe that requires a credit card or a loan from a family member. But for you, that same event is merely an annoyance. You pay the bill, you move on, and your emotional state remains intact. This is the emotional buffer that comes from having a financial cushion you don't talk about. You've built space between the problem and your reaction. This isn't just about protecting your bank account. It's about protecting your peace of mind. When you have 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in a boring, high-yield savings account, you stop walking around with that constant low-level fear that one bad break could knock everything over. You've realized that the true power of money isn't what it can buy, but how much time and calm it can provide during a crisis. The third sign you're secretly getting rich is that you've adopted the gardener's mindset toward your numbers. Most people avoid looking at their bank accounts because the truth is too stressful. They only check their balance when they're worried a card might decline. You, however, look at your finances with curiosity rather than panic. You know your rough net worth, you know what you save each month, and you understand where your money is going. You aren't staring because something is wrong. You're checking in to help it grow. This awareness is one of the cheapest and most effective wealth-building tools in existence, yet it is rarely used. It allows you to see the patterns, the leaks, and the progress that others miss. You've stopped treating money like a scoreboard and started treating it like a tool. You'll spend 20 minutes researching a $20 power bank on Amazon to ensure value, but you won't hesitate to spend $15,000 on a necessary roof repair. You understand the difference between a want and a need, and you prioritize value over the vanity of the purchase. This brings us to perhaps the most difficult sign to master. You've learned to say no to things you can technically afford. Anyone can say no when their bank account is empty. That's just restriction. But saying no when you have the cash in hand requires a level of discipline that most people never achieve. You could upgrade the phone, you could lease the luxury SUV, and you could certainly afford the designer bag. But you pause. You ask yourself if that purchase moves you closer to the life you actually want. And often, the answer is, not right now. This isn't deprivation, it's a strategic choice for future freedom. You are choosing to buy back your time a decade from now instead of buying a status symbol today. You've realized that the most common jobs among millionaires aren't glamorous CEOs or flashy celebrities. They are engineers, accountants, and teachers, people who often live in middle-income neighborhoods and drive paid-off, reliable cars. They understand that a car is just a tool to get from point A to point B, and they'd rather have the extra $500 a month compounding in an investment account than sitting in a driveway losing value. The fifth and final sign is the most measurable. Your savings rate is growing faster than your lifestyle. This is the wealth engine that separates the truly rich from the high-income earners who are secretly broke. Goldman Sachs recently found that 40% of people earning over $500,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. It seems impossible until you realize that lifestyle creep is a financial gas that fills whatever container you put it in. As their income rises, their house gets bigger, their car gets newer, and their subscriptions multiply until there is nothing left. But you've built an immunity to this inflation. When you get a raise, your first thought isn't, "What can I buy?" but "How much more can I invest?" If you used to save 10% of your income and now you're saving 20%, you are winning the game, even if you don't feel like it yet. That gap between what you earn and what you spend is where your freedom is manufactured. The reality of building wealth is that it feels remarkably like nothing is happening. Compound interest is incredibly boring for the first 20 years. It only feels like magic in the final decade. It took the average millionaire in one major study 28 years to reach 7 figures. They didn't get there through brilliant stock picks or overnight success. They got there by being consistently boring for 3 decades. They used coupons, they avoided credit card debt, and they ignored the urge to keep up with the neighbors. If your financial life feels like watching paint dry, if your friends seem to be living much larger than you, and if you can go weeks without thinking about your investments because they're running on autopilot, don't be discouraged. You aren't falling behind. You are simply refusing to play the fake wealth game so that you can win the real one. Wealth is what you keep, not what you spend. If your habits are changing, your future is already changing, even if the world hasn't noticed yet.